Oh hey folks, this is Maria, and today I would like to show you how to cast on 2 socks at a time without using any extra needles. It's a very useful thing to know, so you'll need your sock yarn. I'm going to be using 2 different colors to make it easier to follow along. You're also going to need long circular sock needles. Um, you want your cable to be at least about 36 inches long, but longer is always better. So these are just the ones that I like to use. And really you could use this method for any cast on method, I think. I'm going to be doing the long tail cast on, and I should clarify this isn't going to be a tutorial on how to do the long tail cast on. This is just how to organize your stitches if you want to knit 2 at a time. And really it could be 2 at a time with anything. Socks, mittens, you could knit 2 hats at a time if you want. So I'm going to start with our little slip knot there. And step number 1 is going to be cast on half of the stitches that your pattern calls for. So in this case, I'm going to be knitting a pair of socks. I usually go for 64 stitches for a sock, so that means I'm going to be doing 32 stitches. And like I said, this should work, I would think, with any cast on method. And for anything that is knit in the round. This is also not for like a cast on trick for projects you're working flat. This is for anything you're working in the round with magic loop on circular needles. So you'll just continue casting on, and I will meet you at the next step. All right, so there's our 32 stitches. Going to pull those, and we're going to slide those onto the cable. That's step number 2. Slide the stitches down onto the cable, and we're done with that yarn for now. Now we're going to deal with step 3, which is cast on all the stitches for the second item. So again, I'm doing socks, 64 stitches. So this time I'm going to cast on the full 64 stitches. Again, this is whatever pattern you're doing: mittens, wrist warmers, socks, leg warmers, anything in the round. If you were really crazy and had a long enough cable, you could probably knit 2 sweaters top down like this. But we're just doing socks for now. All right, there we have all 64 stitches, and step 4 is going to be to slide those stitches down onto the cable. Now I will confess that yes, casting on this way can be a little bit fiddly, but it's okay as long as you keep track. So bring your needles together, get the original yarn that you were using. So for the first item, and for our next step, we're going to slide those stitches, slide them. Remember, this is half the amount of stitches, and we're going to slide them all the way to the left needle. And you'll know you're doing it the right direction because your working yarn and the tail that you're casting on with will be to the right. So here you can see. If I have it in the left needle, my working yarn and the tail are to the right. And the next step is step 6, cast on the remaining stitches onto the right needle. And the first stitch is always the trickiest, but even if it's a bit loose, it's okay. I find that either it just kind of naturally tightens up as you start to knit, or when you go to weave in your ends, the tail that is up on the cuff, because this is for top-down socks at the moment, the tail can usually be worked to kind of tighten that spot up. So, but yep. So again, since I'm doing socks that are 64 stitches, this means I'm casting on 32 onto the right needle right now. Okay, now that we have all the stitches, our last step, step 7, is going to be divide the stitches for the second item in half on the cable. So again, I'm doing 64 stitch socks on this. So I'm dividing it 32 and 32, and I'm just going to count those stitches and then pull the cable through so that those are divided in half. And straighten out the cables. I really do think like some of the fiddliness of casting on for 2 at a time is a bit unavoidable, but this trick definitely helps. Now you're just gonna separate your yarns, get straightened out. And all right, and there we have it. You're just going to make sure that your stitches are not twisted. And you'll know it's all going the right direction. See, we have the working yarn and the tail. Just make sure all the stitches are not twisted, that they're going to go in a circle nicely. Go ahead and pull your working needle through, and you are ready to start knitting in the round. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, maybe share it with someone who you know likes to knit 2 at a time, or subscribe to the channel. And if you like this format of tutorial, I would love to make more. So just let me know in the comments below if there's anything you'd like to see, any particular kind of cast on or tip or what have you. So, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.